new Virginia Bedrooms and Waterbeds is celebrating Columbus Day, and everything's on sale, up to 50% off. Stop in now and discover why we've become your total bedroom store. Why? Because we have the largest selection of the most comfortable mattresses, futons, and waterbeds, the best styles in daybeds and bedroom furniture. And with everything on sale for Columbus Day, the absolute best value. So stop in now at the new Virginia Bedrooms and Waterbeds, your total bedroom store.
I like goes like this. Loose ball in the end zone. Fall on it, no chance. My feet are light, and I've got the moves. At the 50, I see Myers. Not now, Chris. I'm a busy man. And as I cross the goal line, I laugh, knowing my agent has just cut a deal for my very own fitness video. Yeah, that's my sports center highlight.
Phoenix International Raceway, a track originally designed as a 2.7-mile road course, but then designer and builder Richard Hogue was unveiled upon to make it an oval track, and thus it has been. Now beginning its 30th season with tonight's Checker Camel Grand Prix. Bob Varsha, David Hobbs with you. There's the number 99 of Juan Fangio, looking to clinch his second straight Camel Drivers Championship. There is P.J. Jones, race leader in the number 98 Toyota. 2 victories coming in, Daytona, the 24 hours there, and Laguna Seca.
And coming up to put a lap on Wayne Taylor in the Danker car.
On board with Wayne Taylor, running in 5th position. He was 6th earlier, but we saw Bob Wallach take his Porsche right up to the concrete, getting out on the marbles. Now Wayne Taylor in one of his best running positions of the year thus far. Wayne's had a lot of problems. Now he sees one of the Toyotas going by underneath him. So he has been lapped now by both race leader P.J. Jones and Juan Fangio. Now here's the battle in Camel Lights. The car on the left, Bryce Cobb in the Bricks Racing entry. On the right, Parker Johnstone. He's got a padiddle, just one headlight out there in the Comtech Acura.
Well floodlit though, so the lights are not as important as they might be. As we're back on board again now with Wayne Taylor. You can hear that heavy note of the old Chevy there pounding away through the night here. He's coming up on that race now.
And it's Manuel Reuter on the outside, so this is a bid for 4th place for Wayne Taylor. And it looks like he's got it. Now look at the front end sparks from P.J. Jones's car. The race leader has been passed. Juan Fangio has gotten around him, but it looks like there's damage to PJ's car. Fangio flashes across the start-finish line to lead the lap, and that will do it. He will pick up a point and clinch his title. Here's how he took the lead. Underneath goes PJ, makes contact with Manuel Reuter, and the 99 of Fangio gets under him. Well, that explains a lot. Oh, Fangio makes the left front corner contact.
Fangio makes the run and rips off one of those little aerodynamic downforce spoilers. By the look of things, you saw it flying away there into the night.
Well, that explains how Fangio got by and how Wayne Taylor had a shot at Manuel Reuter for 4th. Now back to the battle in Camel Lights. Bryce Cobb, who was involved in that crash that took P.J. Jones out of this race a year ago. He's now got mirrors full of 3-time Camel Lights champion Parker Johnstone.
Now both cars have engines developed by the same people. Comtech do the engines on both the cars. We're on board now with Bryce Cobb. Whoa, the car in front of him got a bit loose there. We can't see, of course, Parker Johnstone right behind Bryce Cobb. All we're seeing.
Now Fangio is off the racetrack and back on. No obvious damage on the car, but he has dropped back to 2nd place.
Well, I wonder what caused that.
There is Wayne Taylor. There is the 99 of Fangio. So Fangio has allowed Wayne Taylor to get back around. Let's take another look. Looks like he just overcooked the corner and locked up the wheels.
Going into the turn 1, spins the car around. Not quite spinning it, but very nearly, and backs up on the steep banking there of turn 1. You can see how it got the damage to the under tray there.
And that allowed this man, P.J. Jones, to get around him, get back into the race lead, but he's still showering sparks from that damaged left front corner.
Must have bent something and pushed down the nose there. Because he obviously probably have less downforce now than he's won. It looks like it's ripped one of those little spoilers off. Hard to tell in the dark.
Fangio has clinched the Drivers' Championship, but you can bet that P.J. Jones desperately, perhaps even more desperately now, wants to win this race. Camel Light's battle continues. Bryce Cobb and Parker Johnstone. There is Bryce, who is vastly experienced in the GT machines, having driven Porsches for Rob Dyson, Jaguars for that team. There's Parker Johnstone, who has won, half dozen or so national championships in various sedan classes. Now here comes Juan Fangio into the pits. We'll see if he suffered any damage from that off-course excursion. Here's Rick DeBrule.
Fangio brings the car in. PJ, his teammate, had noted that when he was driving behind him, that Juan was spewing out oil. So the concern is that he may have some kind of an oil leak. Now right now they're just changing the tires because of the spin he had. They've got oil lined up, several cans of it, and they're going to the back. They're going to go ahead and try and take the rear cowling off. It looks like they're going to be moving into put more oil in. There you see they take that rear bodywork off, and they're picking up some oil cans. They've got a work light they've got to get into place. And remember, he led one lap, so he's gotten 1 point, but he still needs to go the distance if he wants to pick up any more points. They're looking down inside. They've got oil handy, but at this point, they're just a little mystified as to exactly what could be a problem with Fangio's car.
Meanwhile, P.J. Jones has gone by, and that will put Juan Fangio 1 lap down. Problems for Juan Fangio. This could be one of the closest championships in IMSA history. Rick, what are we learning? There's Dan Gurney talking to his team.
There's still some confusion down here in the pit. They've been yelling at each other, trying to figure out what they can look at. There was a concern that there was some oil on one of the body pans, but apparently it wasn't enough to actually cause a problem with the engine. They're not going to put any more oil in. Now they're going to go ahead and take the nose off. Try to get out of the way here. They're going to bring in another nose. Right here, they're bringing in another nose because of the off-course excursion. They're going to fit another nose. Now, the critical thing for him at this point is just to go ahead and finish the distance. He's not going to be able to win this race unless something major happens with his teammate or one of the other GTP cars. But they go out ahead, they fitted the new nose, and they're going to put him back out in this race.
Meanwhile, P.J. Jones, the race leader, has gone by, putting his teammate Juan Fangio another lap down. So he will lead by 2 laps, and they're just ahead. You saw Derek Bell in that Momo Nissan. He is now in 2nd place. Let's get back down to Rick DeBrule. Rick?
Well, this is one long, painful pit stop. They just fitted on a new nose because of the off-course excursion. They felt there was something wrong with the other one. But now that they've tried to put this one on, they can't get one of the connectors on the front end to work. They're going to go ahead. They're working on it, doing a desperate job trying to get it back out of this race. There you see they finally fitted it, get out of the way, and they're going to put Fangio back on the track.
Well, at last he pulls out, so that's 3 laps down, which is actually only about 3 minutes, but to him it probably seemed like 3 hours. Dan Gurney looking just a little bit puzzled there, but on the other hand, the pace of these cars, this race is certainly not over yet.
Now here is the former race leading car in the World Sports Car chassis. Jim Pace has gotten out of the car. Butch Hamlet from Martinsville, Virginia will climb in, but they will lose the lead in that class. Plenty of racing still to come in the 3 categories competing tonight in the Checker Camel Grand Prix. Stay with us.
Chili, fries, coffee.
You better add on some Tums.
No, on the house.
Except these aren't Tums.
Same thing.
You got them all mixed up.
I told you they're all the same.
Listen to me. Tums has calcium. Is this calcium? No. It uses aluminum and magnesium. So does this. This here, original Rolaids, uses an aluminum salt. The only one of these that helps wipe out heartburn and gives you calcium you need is Tums.
Something my body needs anyway. I like that.
Insist on calcium-rich Tums.
Why get an inferior foam shave when you could have the best? Why choose ordinary lubrication when you could have the richest? Why settle for average protection against razor irritation when there's something more advanced than foam? Edge Gel. Ultimate closeness. Ultimate comfort. That's the Edge. And now there's new soothing Edge Aftershave for sensitive, dry, and normal skin.
No matter what the car, you need an oil you can count on and a price you can bank on every day.
At Walmart, we're here to help you with both.
With Quaker State Motor Oil, For easy starts in the widest temperature range, choose Quaker State Synquest. It's one tough motor oil.
And at Walmart, you'll always save on what you put into your car.
No matter when you drop in. Walmart. Always the low price. Always.
Track Facts are brought to you by new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State Motor Oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
You only have to say the word Ferrari and automatically spectacular images come to mind of sweeping red bodywork and cars that are truly the ultimate. But it is more than just the cars, it's also a spectacular racing history. And next year that racing image comes back to IMSA in the form of World Sports Cars. Ferrari won't actually be fielding a team itself, but it will be selling the cars to customers.
Several customers have asked us to build a car that would afford them the opportunity to participate in the sport of motor racing.
Ferrari really likes the idea that the same cars that can be raced in IMSA will also be used at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. During Ferrari's heyday in American sports car racing back in the 1960s, Ferrari cars finished 1-2 at the 12 Hours of Sebring for 4 straight years. Giampiero Moretti, a 15-year veteran of IMSA racing, has already agreed to buy 2 Ferraris to campaign in 1994.
We're going to have a 4-liter, 65 degrees V12 engine, which should have in excess of 600 horsepower. And of course, it's going to have 5 valves per cylinder.
Of course it will, as you watch the black number 43 of Andy Evans putting Butch Hamlet a lap down in the World Sports Car Class battle. 600 horsepower in one of those Exxon-sponsored WSC cars. David, what do you think?
Well, it'll certainly look and sound the part with that V12 engine. I'm not sure about the cost factor which they're trying to keep down, but let's hope that these rules are adopted worldwide, and then Le Mans, Daytona, Sebring, and of course the Japanese sports car races can all be integrated, and we can have a true world championship of sports cars in 1994 and onwards, which is what sports car racing needs.
In fact, Mark Raffoff from IMSA has been in consultation with the FIA officials. As you take a look at Andy Evans, the WSC leader, the world regulations will be virtually identical to the IMSA regulations, and these cars will be the headline class of the 24 Hours of Le Mans next year. So the future looks very bright indeed for IMSA and for Ferrari. The WSC cars won't be the only Ferrari series in America, we are told. There will also be a 348 challenge involving Ferrari 348 cars here in America. Owner racers.
So Ferrari again stamping its mark on the racetracks of the world as we look at Wayne Taylor, now up to 4th spot in his Danker Chevrolet. Let's hope he has a better luck today than he's been having. He's certainly at the moment running very, very strongly. He's just a bit out of the frame from Derek Bell and Giampiero Moretti in the Nissan, but he's running at last. He's having a decent run here in the dark at Phoenix.
Now down in the pits, that's Bob Wallach, whom we watched get right out by the concrete when he got up on the marbles and was passed by Wayne Taylor. Looks like he's got some problems there in the Yost 962.
I'll tell you what, look at that picture of the 962 there. If you could see that, and then you put Al Holbert's 962 alongside it, the way that bodywork has evolved on that particular model just shows how this GTP cars did evolve over the years. That's the same car, looks totally different.
You watch P.J. Jones, the race leader, rocketing across the start-finish line one more time. Let's go back to the beginning of the GTP era, David. What do you suppose your old BMW M1 would do in this kind of field?
Well, I would say on a track like this, it'd probably be about 10 to 15 seconds slower than the leaders. And here's the leader of the Camel, second place in the Camel Lights coming in, Parker Johnson. Not a sight you very often see, smoke trailing out the back. Could be anything.
Problems in that right rear wheel well. Looks like the tire may be flat. He locks it up as they come in. Right rear problems for Parker Johnstone. Let's get down to the pit lane and Rick DeBrule.
Parker Johnstone brings the car in. Right now they're treating it like a routine pit stop, but there seems little doubt that there is some kind of problem associated with the car. He's trying to talk to the team to let them know what's going on. They take the rear tires off, a lot of smoke coming off the rear brakes, but that could be very routine for this point in the race. Now the question is, what else are they going to do? He had fallen off the pace, but he should have more than enough fuel, so it's not a fuel problem. Now they're opening up. They're going to go ahead and take a look inside. It could be an electrical problem, and that might be what they're trying to check.
And they are also unplugging Parker Johnstone, who will get out of the car. A driver change going on here. Dan Marvin from Berkeley, California will get in. So the team taking advantage of an opportunity. Once again, here's Rick.
Johnstone has gotten out. Dan Marvin is getting into the car. So at this point, they have changed the tires, put in fuel. They don't seem to think there's any problem.
Well, there may be one in a moment. The leader is in the pit lane. You heard the mechanics telling each other to get out of the way. Take it away, Rick.
P.J. Jones, the leader of the race. This is their scheduled pit stop. They have brought the car in. They're making the tire change. Once again, at this point, the championship is over. This one's for pride. This one is for the team. This one is for P.J. Jones. They're doing it just as if the championship was at stake, however. Changing all 4 tires, putting fuel in, doing all the work as quickly as they can to send him back out into this race.
Time in the upper right, under 25 seconds. Well, that proves better than anything we could have told you. Dan Gurney says he has 2 autonomous teams here this weekend. PJ's guys want him to win the race no matter what happens in the championship. Juan Fangio's guys want him to win just as much. Plenty of racing still to come. Jones leads Bell here in Phoenix.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. Superior protection against wear. Superior protection against heat and stress. Superior cleaning power. New advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines. And now announcing the biggest rebate in Quaker State history. Get a $4.20 cashback rebate to try new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State.
The Suzuki GSXRs. First, they win more road races than any production motorcycle in history. Then, we put a license plate on them. The new liquid-cooled GSXRs, now available in 600, 750, and 1100 octane.
Imagine the smooth acceleration, the quick response, the high performance of high-octane Exxon Supreme gasoline. Move up to Exxon Supreme and turn the tiger loose.
In Phoenix, Arizona, if the moon were made of green cheese, that airliner would cut off a slice about the size of South America. Bob Barsha, David Hobbs, and Rick DeBrule with you for the IMSA Checker Camel Grand Prix. Final race for the Camel GT prototypes in IMSA competition. Now down there on the racetrack, you see Manuel Reuter ahead of Wayne Taylor. The number 7 car has dropped number 8 back into 4th place. So Wayne Taylor, could he be having problems once again?
Well, it seems a bit strange having fought his way past both those Porsches of Bob Wallach and Manuel Reuter to be put back. But the traffic is so heavy here that we may have missed some fracas somewhere that dropped him back behind him, because he's hanging on pretty well now, isn't he? Seems to be not losing any ground.
Manuel Reuter won the 24 Hours of Le Mans driving in a Mercedes sports car.
Manuel Reuter is a young German on the move. He did, if you remember back in Formula 1 when we were doing it, he did a few Formula 1 races, and he still really hankers after getting back into Formula 1, but of course, as every day goes by, it gets more difficult. Wayne Taylor coming into the pits.
Wayne Taylor, we'll find out in a moment if he's got problems. This may be routine, it may not, and with Wayne Taylor, you never know. Down to Rick DeBrule.
Well, Wayne Taylor has brought the car in for what is a routine pit stop. They're having no problems, except that apparently the cool suit has failed. Because of that, they're going to dump some ice water down Wayne Taylor's back. But quite frankly, that is not going to be a long-term fix. That'll do fine for the next 5-10 minutes. But as he goes through this race, that may be a problem that Wayne Taylor's going to have to contend with and find some way to figure out a way around.
Well, as long as they get it down the back and not the front. Otherwise, his problems start right now. See them checking the radiators. Now they go inside the car. Wayne Taylor in that big Chevrolet V8 powered machine. Fueling is done. The car is back down off the jacks. Wayne Taylor is back underway.
Back in the good old days when men were men, that was the routine fix before you had cool suits. That's what you had to do. Every pit stop, have ice water poured down your back and other regions.
So Wayne Taylor goes back into action. There is P.J. Jones, still sparky up at that left front corner where he had a collision with his teammate as Juan Fangio took the race lead. Fangio has now dropped back after that long pit stop. He is 3 laps down to his teammate, trying to mount a charge through the field. But P.J. Jones, Fangio has already clinched the $200,000 bonus for the series championship, but P.J. could pick up $60,000 in Camel Pyramid bonus money tonight. There is Derek Bell, the 2-time sports car world champion in the Momo Nissan, presently in 2nd place. He is a lap down to race leader P.J. Jones, and he has a pit stop somewhere in his future as well. Oh, Wayne Taylor slows.
Oh my goodness me, this is a sight we've seen so many times this year, and it's such a sad sight too. And of course, poor old Wayne himself must be sitting in there thinking, what the heck's gone wrong this time?
Wayne Taylor, married, father of some small children, and hard luck race driver par excellence. What a year it has been for him. Now he pulls it off onto the grass. The engine, it would appear, has been silenced.
Let's hope they didn't pour water on the electrics while they were pouring it down his back. That's the sort of thing that happens to Wayne. Now, will this bring out a full course caution? It's hard to tell exactly where he is at the moment, but it just might do.
I think he is, well, the cars are going fairly slowly in the background, so he is not on a high-speed part of the circuit. On the run-up to the turn 3 and 4 on the oval, I believe. Now, there is P.J. Jones.
Working his way through lap traffic. Boy, these guys have got their work cut out today, working their way through lap traffic all the time, every lap, passing 4 or 5 cars, lap after lap. It's very, very strenuous, and it's very, very straining on the eyes and, of course, the mind.
Now here is Manuel Reuter. You saw Gianpiero Moretti waiting in the pits. Here's Rick.
Jost Porsche, the number 7 car, has come in for their pit stop. It looks routine at this point. They're going to go ahead and change the tires, put in the fuel. They're not making any other adjustments to the car for the time being. Unlike their sister car, which has had so much trouble during this event, they seem to have things well under control. They're going to send them back out, although it is a very slow pit stop.
The Porsche stays 3rd. Here's the Nissan.
Like a shark waiting to attack, this car has been doing its job very faithfully, very securely. Derek Bell brings the car in. They make the driver change. Moretti gets in. They have had no problem so far. They're going to change the tires, put in the new fuel, and make the driver change as quickly as possible. Their big goal, obviously, they've seen one of the Toyotas have problems. They're hoping that if that other Toyota has a problem, they could be in a position to strike. So they need to make sure that everything they do during this race goes as smoothly as possible. It is a long pit stop, but considering their situation, it is not a bad one right now. They close the door. Moretti is set to go. They give all the signs. They're going to put him down and send him back out. Like I say, the Shark hoping to find, but he stalls it on the way out. But the Shark moves back out, hoping to take advantage.
Well, that was a long pit stop. I'm assuming that Derek Bell will drive for Moretti next year. It'll be interesting to see Derek back behind the wheel of a Ferrari. Of course, he drove a Formula One Ferrari for the factory back in 1968. So a long time ago, but it'll be nice for him to be behind the wheel of a Ferrari again.
I walked the paddock at Monza for this year's Italian Grand Prix, and little gray-haired men would come up and point at Derek Bell and say, Derek, 1968 Ferrari. So Derek is not totally disassociated with the brand. On board now with Bryce Cobb, the overall Camel Lights leader, as race leader P.J. Jones goes rocketing past.
Absolutely, squeezed by on the outside of that right-hander and has just completely disappeared in about 400 yards. He's a couple of 100 yards ahead. As Bryce Cobb pulls up onto the banking, there we see P.J. Jones just leaving the banking, going onto the front straightaway. Still sparking very, very badly from that left front. You'd think whatever it was, it would have worn away by now.
It isn't slowing him up at all, but behind P.J. Jones, his teammate Juan Fangio has come back through the field. He's now up into 3rd.
Come on, push yourself. Put your heart into it. Be tough.
I'm not gonna pay a lot for this muffler.
More feeling.
I'm not gonna pay a lot for this muffler.
Now that I'm in the Meineke corner, if anyone says you have to pay a lot to get high-quality muffler service, you know what to tell them.
I am not going to pay a lot for this muffler.
By George, I think he's got it.
Now more than ever, at Meineke, you're not going to pay a lot, but you'll get a lot.
I guarantee it.
Gentlemen, Start your engines.
Red balls of fire. You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will, what a thrill. Doesn't it raise your red balls of fire?
Bosch Platinum, the ultimate spark plug.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. Superior protection against wear. Superior protection against heat and stress. Superior cleaning power. New advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines. And now announcing the biggest rebate in Quaker State history. Get a $4.20 cashback rebate to try new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State.
Heisman hopeful Charlie Ward and the Seminoles attack Virginia, and the Irish test their luck against BYU Saturday on ESPN.
Back at Phoenix International Raceway, Bob Varsha, David Hobbs with you at the Checker Camel Grand Prix. P.J. Jones out front by 2 laps over Giampiero Moretti and the Nissan and the Toyota of his teammate and newly crowned IMSA Camel GT champion Juan Fangio.
Squeezing past the inside there of Andy Evans in the 43 car, the black car, going through that turn 1, swooping through the infield here, weaving from side to side.
Meanwhile, Parker Johnstone has climbed out of the second place car in Camel Lights, and he's with Rick DeBrule.
Oh, Parker Johnstone, this is not at all the way we thought you'd finish this season now. What's wrong?
Well, something failed in the right rear of the car. We got a 7-second lead right off the bat in the beginning. Acura Comtech car worked flawlessly. And I came in to get a new set of tires because I knew by the time the race restarted, Price would have a good 30 minutes of qualifying. First 15 minutes of the race on it, sure enough, the plan was working great. I had caught back up to him. I was just waiting to see what was going to unfold. We were having a great time out there, and then something failed in the right rear and nearly pitched me into the wall, so we thought we'd come in and have the guys take a look at it.
This has to be a pretty frustrating way to end a great Camel Lights career.
Well, I tell you, the guys at Comtech and everyone from Acura, we've won 3 championships in a row, 7 for 9. We've set all-time records for pole positions, wins. It's a disappointment for the team, but certainly the guys have done a tremendous job over the years, and they can hold their head up, know that they had the pole here by almost a second. We're leading the race, and things are great. So, disappointment today, but hopefully we'll be back in something real exciting next year.
Now I wonder what that might be. Real exciting for Parker Johnstone.
You don't think it could be on this very circuit here, do you, by any chance, Bob?
I'm sure Parker would wish it might be. Of course, Acura, closely related to Honda. In fact, a child of the Honda empire. And I think there's very little secret that Doug Peterson and the Comtech folks would like to go Honda-powered IndyCar racing. That remains to be seen. Now, right now, this is a battle for second place. Juan Fangio on the left, closing up on Dr. Giampiero Moretti in the Nissan. This battle taking place 2 laps down from leader P.J. Jones.
Fangio, of course, has made an absolutely astonishing walk through the field. From 3 laps down, he's now 2 laps down. Racing with the current car in second spot, and will no doubt dispatch him shortly, i.e. right now. Slips by, Moretti gives him room.
So Juan Fangio moves into second place in the race behind his teammate, but 2 laps down. That could scotch any chance that he might have of overtaking. He has already clinched the $200,000 R.J. Reynolds Camel bonus for the series championship and becomes the 5th driver in IMSA history to clinch more than one IMSA Camel GT championship. Whoa! Already getting very wild under braking inside a slower car there as he tries to hang on to Juan Fangio. Meanwhile, our world sports car chassis leader is in the pits. Here comes Andy Evans, and here's Rick.
Andy Evans brings in his world sports car after running what has so far been a fairly flawless race. At this point, they believe it is totally routine. They don't think there's any adjustments have to be made. The intriguing point, Andy Evans is getting out. He's handing over to Fermin Velez. Velez actually started the race in the number 40 car, the Bieri car, in another world sports car. When that car had problems, he sat out, but this was the plan all along, to go ahead and have him change and have him be the second driver in this car. In fact, I was talking with him just before the race, And he was saying, because he also drove this car in the very beginning when they first made the conversion to World Sports Cars, he says this is a much, much better car. He also says he's only had about 2 laps in this car this week, and so he hasn't had too much of a chance to truly get a feel for it. But he says he has driven it. He knows it is much, much better than the original conversion, showing they've made some progress in converting this to a World Sports car.
Well, as you can see, Fermín Velez, a much shorter man than Andy Evans, so he has to do a lot of bolstering inside that chassis. Velez from Spain, a former world champion in the FIA C2 category, the World Sports Car version of Camel Lights machines. Meanwhile, Bryce Cobb is up in the top 5 overall in this race and well out front in the Camel Lights class.
Well, of course, the demise of the Parker Johnstone car, these guys should have this class pretty well locked up as we're on board with Bryce. You can see how that windscreen's getting dirtier and dirtier as the night progresses. And of course, in a night race, when there's so many lights throwing pinpoints of light at you, it starts to get very, very confusing at night, and it gives you some idea of just what it's like. See the steering wheel there kicking back, a lot of kickback through the wheel, unlike a street car. Of course, there's a very much more direct link between the wheel and the road. No power assists and no any sort of shock absorbing in the system. Very, very direct for maximum efficiency, but not necessarily maximum comfort.
There are the clocks watching Bryce Cobb and the rest of the field. Give Bryce credit. He has not had a lot of time. In fact, this is only his 3rd appearance in the series this year.
Wide open, excited, brand new. It's Norfolk State University football. Come see the most wide open football on the East Coast. Coach Archie Cooley promises that his pro-style offense will keep the Spartan fans on their feet. A new era in football. A new style of football is here. The all-new Norfolk State University Spartans. Form and field will never be the same.
NSU hosts Hampton University October 16th at 1:30 p.m. Become a part of the Spartan team, the only game in town.
It's the place to catch some of baseball's first pitches, and where people love to throw themselves into the game. But the town of Sarasota, Florida is also a major financial center because it's served by Nations Bank, which lets Albert and Fruit Company pick from the widest range of commercial services, gives families like the Piles greater investment options, and helps people keep all their bases covered in Sarasota and in 1,900 other communities throughout our nation.
Time to waste. NFL Prime Monday is the place. 90 minutes of X's and O's from Theismann, James, Jaworski, and the rest of our pros. We've got roundtables with sports writers galore and Chris Mortensen with the story behind the score. We'll have live reports from the Monday night game and backstage with Julie Brown. She'll entertain. No matter who you are, no matter what you know, NFL Prime Monday. That's your show.
NFL Prime Monday, tomorrow at 7:30 Eastern, only on ESPN.
Back at Phoenix International Raceway in the Checker Camel Grand Prix, P.J. Jones flashes across the start-finish line in his Toyota. Meanwhile, Bryce Cobb, our Camel Lights leader, is in the pits. Notice that dashboard illuminated from the rear to make sure the driver can see clearly. Here's Rick DeBrule.
Bryce Cobb brings the Acura-powered Spice into the pit. Remember, he said he hadn't driven a lights car in a long time, and he wasn't sure if he was going to get used to it, but it looked like, so far, his debut is a very nice one. This is the routine stop they have been waiting for. They go on, bring in the car, change the 4 tires, put in the fuel, and make the driver change. Theoretically, a driver change should only add a little bit of time to a pit stop. However, there are all the connections that have to be made. The radio connection, the cool suit connection, all the other connections that make the driver communicate to the team. As a result, if those can go wrong, if you make a wrong connection, it can extend out the length of the pit stop. In this case, they've already put the fuel in. They're simply waiting for Bob Shader to make those final connections. Car is ready to go. Everything's clear. He's making sure that he is simply in place. And at this point, with the lead they've got, they can afford to do this to a certain degree. But still, they're all watching him, waiting for him to give the thumbs up like he just did. Now he's going back out.
And so Colorado attorney Bob Shader takes over for Bryce Cobb and the Motorola Cellular Acura Spice. They are the lights leader by quite a margin now that Parker Johnstone and Dan Marvin have dropped well back.
So now just their brief is to keep the car on the track and keep it going, and they should win their classes.
Now Rick has caught up with Bryce Cobb. Take it away, Rick.
Well, Bryce Cobb, we were talking earlier this week, and you said it was kind of a tough adjustment getting back into the lights car. You seem to have made the adjustment.
Well, it certainly was for me. I think a lot of the adjustment is that I haven't driven a lights car in about 8 or 9 years. I certainly haven't driven one that runs as well as this. You know, I had my work cut out for me. Parker, Marvin, Shader, Earl, Melgrati, you know, all the guys that I'm leaving out, these guys aren't slouches, so I knew I'd have my work cut out for me.
But you've adapted.
Yeah, I think we did. It was interesting at the start because I knew Parker was starting on a light tank of fuel, and he was going to try to demoralize me, I'm sure of it. But we knew that no matter what he did, I'd do my best to stay with him. He got away only in traffic. Best to stay with him, and then we also knew that we were going to go farther on our set of tires, so I had to be real careful. You also saw his pit stop for new tires, which I knew he'd catch me, but by then I was hoping his tires were used up too, and sure enough, he stayed behind me until he lost them.
Bryce Cobb playing the strategies.
And two very different strategies they were. As we recall, the Comtech teammate saying that they were going to allow Price to get away in the early going. Meanwhile, here's the battle in World Sports Car. Well, actually, this is Fermin Velez having taken over for Andy Evans, and he is putting the Butch Hamlet car a lap down. Hamlet was able to unlap himself during the pit stop and driver changeover, but now former world champion Fermin Velez really has the bit between his teeth, and he is drawing away from Hamlet.
Interesting thing there, the car of Fermin Velez is showering sparks off the right front corner, which is kind of what you'd expect going around these long left-hand bends with a banking to them, because the car is rolling and is dragging the right side along the road surface, whereas P.J. Jones's car, which is so stiff, still drags the left front, however hard it's turning left, when you'd expect it to roll over and maybe lift it at least off the deck. And the Fermin Velez car there leaving a shower of sparks all down the right side, which is the body roll into the car. See, it stops doing it as soon as it turns right. The sparks stop.
Andy Evans was one of the first car owners to change over to the World Sports Car chassis this season and run it exclusively through the latter half. Next year, these cars will no doubt look significantly different after another off-season of development, and we'll see them again at the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona at the end of January in Daytona Beach, Florida.
And of course, when we see examples with like the Ferrari, the 12-cylinder engine and the full 5-litre big American V8 engines, they'll be significantly faster than these cars. And of course, we'll be very excited to watch and drive, because they're really trying to keep the downforce down on these cars, and it'll become much more driver-oriented, and you'll see much more slipping and sliding around in the turns than you do on the current GTP cars.
You mentioned body roll. You saw a lot of pitch right there under heavy braking for that left-hander to get down on the infield. A shower of sparks from the front of the car.
Now, Fermin Velez is an Fermin Velez is a very, very fast driver. As you said earlier, won the World Championship in C2 category some years ago. And as you also said, the difference in height between him and Andy Evans is quite, I mean, that is going from the sublime to the core blind, because Andy Evans is extremely tall and Fermin is very short.
There you see his record, and you also saw him get waxed there by that twin-turbo Nissan GTP machine driven by Giampiero Moretti. Well, it looks like he's got a welding torch at the front corner there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, watch as the car pitches forward under heavy braking, and another shower of sparks right there.
Well, this car's got much more body roll in it, because it can't have that stiff springs that you need for a high downforce car.
An open cockpit takes away a lot of the downforce. And as I mentioned, we expect these cars to look aerodynamically very different after an off-season of development and wind tunnel testing. Fermin Velez from Barcelona, Spain, or Barcelona, as they say, in Catalunya.
In fact, you can see the car twisting around when it changes direction, when it goes right to left or left to right. You can see that he's having to at least fight the car a little bit, whereas the Toyota here just absolutely smoothly transition from one to the corner, from left to right or the other way around, and much more stable and much more sure-footed.
Here, Fermin Velez comes under fire. Ooh, and he slides out, making life a little more difficult for P.J. Jones. But he brings all of the Toyota's power and downforce to bear to sweep by and remains the race leader.
Frustration's okay when you're playing tennis, but not when you're close.
If a guy smells, it's such a turn-off.
Get a little closer with Arid. New improved formula helps keep you extra dry.
Yeah, I trust Arid.
It was my first serious dinner at his family's. So much food.
This is Greg's favorite dish.
And my first serious heartburn. Excuse me. And I learned some things.
Oh, no, these are different. Tums has calcium.
Most antacids don't. Of all these, the only one that helps wipe out heartburn and gives you calcium you need every day is Tums.
Something my body needs anyway. I like that.
Calcium-rich Tums.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. Superior protection against wear. Superior protection against heat and stress. Superior cleaning power. New advanced Quaker State motor oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines. And now announcing the biggest rebate in Quaker State history. Get a $4.20 cashback rebate to try new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State.
Rust. What it can do to the outside of your car, weak, neglected antifreeze can do to the inside. You need Prestone. No matter what happens to the outside, Prestone protects the inside. Prestone stops the rust that stops your car.
The Sabres. The Flyers. The explosive Sabres face Eric Lindros and the Flyers Tuesday live on ESPN National Hockey Night.
P.J. Jones leads the Checker Camel Grand Prix at Phoenix International Raceway. Bob Varsha, David Hobbs, Rick DeBrule with you. Still sparking from that left front corner as he has since he collided with his teammate Juan Fangio. Fangio has clinched the championship, but P.J. Jones is in position to take his third race victory of the year to 7 for Fangio.
Finally got enough roll in the car on that sharp left-hander there to finally hoik the left front off the deck just momentarily, but that's about all.
Once again this season, the race went down, the race for the championship that is, went down to the final race of the season. The 8th time since 1971 when the Camel GT came into being that the race for the title has gone down to the last racetrack of the year.
Which of course is the best way for championships. It's how the NASCAR point system works. Try to get their racing right to the end as we look at Fangio, who's now pulled himself back up to second spot. He had that long 3-lap pit stop, was 3 laps down, and now he's back to second, only just over 1 lap down. So he must have been driving like a man possessed out there in the dark tonight here in Phoenix.
Of those 21 victories, virtually all of them have come with Dan Gurney's All-American Racers Toyota team. Juan Fangio drove with Gurney when they competed in the turbocharged GTO division for Toyota, and then moved up together into GTP racing.
That GTO car, you know, was absolutely incredible, because that was when I was doing GTP, and at somewhere like Daytona with a long straight, that GTO car would be easy as quick as practically every GTP car out there, but obviously carrying a lot more weight. It hadn't got the handling and the braking capability, but an awesome piece of kit back in its day, as this is today. I mean, this truly is a magnificent road racing car. There's no doubt about it. This is state-of-the-art, about as state-of-the-art as you can get. It has absolutely everything going for it. Just a couple of years ago, we thought this car, the Nissan, was going to be about the end of the road for GTPs. No one could go better than that. Moretti and Derek have done a tremendous job this year in a couple-of-year-old car, but boy, that Toyota is a magnificent road racing car.
Dr. Giampiero Moretti at the keyboard of the Nissan. Derek Bell has climbed out of the car, and our Rick DeBrule has caught up with the 2-time sports car world champion. Here's Rick.
Well, Derek Barrell, all weekend we've been theorizing what it was going to be like to race here. What was it like to race here in the night?
Well, I heard so many bad stories about it, but I've enjoyed every second I've been on the track. Obviously, in the middle of the day, it's been pretty unpleasant, but I mean, tonight has been fun, and apart from the slower cars, which they're having their own race, so we have to contend with that, I've enjoyed it.
How does it compare, once again, in terms of racing in places like Daytona and Sebring?
You can't compare it, but I would say the infield, to me, is equally as good as Daytona. You can see everywhere you're going, and it's fun, you know, it's a real challenge. I like it.
Now, were you in the very first IMSA race as well?
Very first IMSA GTP race, yeah. And I'm in the last IMSA GTP.
That's quite a career.
It is, yeah. I've had a lot of wonderful races with Al Holbert and, you know, John Andretti and Bob Wallach, and now with what's his name again?
Giampiero.
Giampiero Moretti. I've had the most wonderful few years. I mean, it's been 10 years, really.
and I've won a few races and had great results with great teams. I've enjoyed it very much. I was doing the World Championship at the same time at one stage, and I was leading the World Championship there and the IMSA Championship here. Lost this one, of course, but I've never won this series. I'd love to have done it, but I've had a wonderful time driving wonderful cars, and it's been the highlight of my life.
And there is the latest iteration of the car that Derek Bell is perhaps most closely associated with, the Porsche 962. This one driven by Manuel Reuter, Le Mans winner, and the winner at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin on Road America's 4-mile-plus circuit this year. That, of course, when Dan Gurney's All-American Racers Toyota team was not in attendance.
The only race, of course, this year that the Toyotas have not won, as Manuel Reuter squeaks around the outside there. It was a fairly brave move, as we saw earlier. You don't want to get too far offline here, otherwise you get up into the marbles like Bob Wallach did earlier on and nearly stuck himself into the wall.
Derek Bell's points are well taken. This being the final race for the GTP machines, there'll be a few misty eyes in the paddock, I would imagine. It's been a great decade and more. 11, 12 years of GTP competition in the IMSA ranks. Porsche, of course, has played a big role in it. The Camel Lights machines differentiated from the GTP machines along the way. Bob Schader right now is leading the class, and B.J. Jones comes whistling by him.
The Camel Lights have been a very successful formula, as you say, in their own right. They're a smaller, no turbocharging allowed, different fuel capability, and they've always proven to be very competitive. This last couple of years, Parker Johnson has rather cleaned up with the Acura engine spice, but there have been some great racing in that series. And of course, Jim Downing, one of the stalwarts of that class, finally designing his own car, the Kudzu, just a couple of years ago. So he's still in it, going to be in it again next year, or in World Sports Car Championship next year.
As you watch the headlights of Fermin Velez coming through the darkness, recall that a year ago when the IMSA Camel GT made its first visit here, Velez was in the running with Parker Johnstone for the Lights Championship, but they collided as Parker exited the pit lane. That knocked Velez out, and in fact clinched the title for Parker. Velez was not a happy man. Now, a few moments ago, there was a long pit stop for the number 68 car, started by Jim Pace. Butch Hamlet took over. Pace was back in, but he is back in the pits. Here's Rick de Brule once again.
Jim Pace brings the World Sports Car back in. They had that long stop a few moments ago when they had problems making the connection, getting Jim Pace in. Apparently, they're having another problem because of the seat belts. They're not connected properly. They connect them back up so they can get them back out on the race, but the damage has been done.
And that's potentially another problem without the all-enveloping bodywork of the big Camel GT cars. In that open air, you certainly don't want your belts flapping. You see Pace jogging himself around in the car, trying to get down deeper in the cockpit, get him as tight as possible. He's back out there, but he has fallen a couple of other places back. Well back now in the World Sports Car class. Up front in the Camel GT class, and overall race leader, B.J. Jones from California out front.
Just absolutely unabated speed. I mean, he has maintained the most incredible pace throughout the entire length of this race so far, weaving his way through this traffic and displaying a great deal of skill and concentration.
Well, PJ and Juan have to be considering their futures tonight. They might go IndyCar racing. Otherwise, they're going to have to find something to do after tonight.
The Suzuki Chitana 600, easily identified flying object.
Hi, is this face taken?
No.
Then I'll sit down.
You want a Bud Light?
Not yet.
Hey, wait a minute! That's my Bud Light!
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
How about a little help here?
To soar with eagles, be the best. To win the industry's highest awards for quality, commit to excellence. Provide superior quality products and have the strength to offer them at more than 12,500 locations nationwide. More than any other major brand. Discover for yourself the difference quality can make. Fly with the new superpower.
Suzuki Dual Sport 350S. It's a vicious cycle.
Back at Phoenix International Raceway, P.J. Jones continues to lead teammate Juan Fangio in a Toyota 1-2 here at the Checker Camel Grand Prix, but they are 2 laps apart. P.J. looking in very good shape for a possible 3rd victory on the season. Now, meanwhile, Juan Fangio is pitting his machine. Here's Rick DeBrule.
Fangio brings the Toyota to a stop. This is a 2nd stop because they made their first one so early. They need to come in and get fuel, basically. While they're in, of course, they're going to go ahead and give them 4 new tires. There are no problems that Fangio is reporting with the car. After they had all those problems early on, now he's back up in 2nd place doing fine, and this is a perfect routine pit stop.
A very quick one as well, 17.2 seconds. I kind of wonder whether they got a full tank of fuel, but at this point they probably don't need one, David.
No, I think at this point of the race that they could probably get away with just a few gallons less. And as you say, that was an extremely quick pit stop because Fangio has certainly not given up any chance of winning this race yet. He's pulled up nearly 2 laps already on P.J. Jones, who's no slouch. So obviously he's going to be trying to maintain the pace. And racing is, you just never know. I mean, anything can happen to anybody at any time. So you really need to keep the pressure on.
We'll have to wait and see if there's another stop coming for P.J. Jones. You heard Rick DeBrule mention that Fangio stopped very early under a caution flag. P.J. waited much later, might not need a 2nd stop. I mentioned before the commercial break that both Fangio and P.J. will be out of work. That's not necessarily true after tonight. Everyone knows Toyota has been studying a possible launch into Indy cars. Dan Gurney has often said under the right circumstances he'd like to go back to racing and building Indy cars. P.J. meanwhile has been racing in the Winston Cup stock car ranks. Oh, he brings his car down. It looks like P.J. will pit again. Rick DeBrule is standing by in the All-American Racers pits. Good stop there. And the team goes to work. The clock is running. Here's Rick.
P.J. Jones bringing in the Toyota for yet a 2nd pit stop. This is very routine. They're putting in the fuel. They've changed the tires. They're doing it exactly the way they've written it in the book. And this car goes back out onto the track.
Well, whatever they did to Juan's car, they did the same to P.J.'s, 17.9 seconds. So just a splash of fuel, it would appear, and 4 new tires for the run home.
Another extremely quick stop there by the Dan Gurney crew. And there's no doubt about it that if they set their mind, and of course Toyota set their mind to IndyCar racing, they will be a very, very strong force to be dealt with.
And Juan Fangio now closes up behind his teammate with an opportunity to take one of his laps back. I often remember that early on in their GTP career together, Dan Gurney and the All-American Racers team were not exactly the most delicately coordinated pit crew. In fact, their first opportunities to win races were foiled by problems in the pits. In fact, the first race that the Toyota Eagle Mark III we've been watching dominate the series this year raced was at Laguna Seca, California. Fangio might have won that race, but for a pit infraction that cost him a 10-second stop-and-go penalty, and he lost. He won the next start at Portland, Oregon. But in the years since, the All-American Racers Toyota team has become an absolutely spot-on pit crew.
Well, of course, a man with the experience of Dan Gurney, who's obviously a very bright guy. He's been in racing for an awfully long time now, done a tremendous amount of racing himself. He was the only guy that Jimmy Clark, who was certainly one of my heroes, ever felt could beat him.
Dan Gurney with Indianapolis racing, sports car racing, stock car racing used to be. There was a day when you could not beat Dan Gurney in a stock car at Riverside. Of course, he went on to win Le Mans, co-driving with A.J. Foyt. Won the Grand Prix of Belgium, last American to do it in a car of his own design and construction, one of the early Gurney Eagles. Once partners with Carroll Shelby in a car building business. In fact, that's how All-American Racers started. Then went out on his own, and at one point nearly the entire field at the Indianapolis 500 was racing Eagles. The sport these days is rife with second-generation stars. One of them right there, P.J. Jones, son of the great Parnelli Jones. Now we have more action coming up in the pits. It would appear the Nissan has come off the corner. There's Derek Bell standing by. Here's Rick.
Jean-Pierre Moretti brings the Nissan to a stop. Apparently, he said he had a tire going down. That's the reason they're bringing the car in earlier than they planned, although it is perfectly within their window to do it now. They're going to go ahead and make the driver change, put Derek Bell back in. Derek Bell, who started the very first GTP race, is going to be finishing the very last GTP race in IMSA. Jean-Pierre Moretti making the connection, the team doing everything they have to. They've got the fuel in, they've got the tires on. Now it's just a matter of cleaning the windshield, making the driver connection, and sending him back out on the race. And at this point, all they can do is hope that the Toyotas have some type of catastrophic problem to put them back into contention for the lead.
This is the 150th IMSA Camel GT start for Dr. Jean-Pierre Moretti, head of the Momo company that makes steering wheels, road wheels, and other aftermarket items for some of the world's most exotic cars. And this is indeed a very long pit stop as Derek Bell buckles in and heads out, but his third place position is not under threat.
That was a long stop. I'm not quite sure why it took so long, whether buckling Derek in or just took a long time to get the fuel in, but I don't know whether they shouldn't be under threat, but Manuel Reuter's still humming along out there, not that far behind them.
Here's Fermin Velez, leader in the world sports car class. Still dragging that right front corner around and sparking away. Tell you, this new pavement on this oval, they're going to wear a groove in it between the Toyotas and this guy. On the infield, meanwhile, Bob Shader running along. There you see him, 5th overall, leader in Camel Lights.
Okay, 3 reasons not to buy BF Goodrich TA tires. The only hairpins you're comfortable with are the ones your grandmother uses. You get white knuckles on a dime store pony. You think 55 miles an hour is quite fast enough, thank you. BF Goodrich TA tires when you're ready to get serious.
It's all right to sweat when we're working out, but when we're close,
Cute or not, if he smells, it's over.
Get a little closer with Arid. New improved formula helps keep you extra dry.
I trust Arid.
Rust. What it can do to the outside of your car, weak, neglected antifreeze can do to the inside. You need Presto. No matter what happens to the outside, Prestone protects the inside. Prestone stops the rust that stops your car.
1, 2, 3, go, what's it do?
Phoenix International Raceway in the Checker Camel Grand Prix. You're on board with Bob Shader from Boulder, Colorado, the leader in the Camel Lights category, in a car started by Bryce Cobb.
There you get a good look at the digital dashboard there, it's showing oil temperature, pressure, water temperature, and of course revs.
Up front now, on the left of your screen, the 98 is P.J. Jones. Right behind him, the 99 of Juan Fangio, the newly crowned champion, 2 laps down, and perhaps trying to get one of those laps back right now as they flash by traffic. Just ahead, the 3rd place car of Derek Bell. They go 3 wide down the front straightaway.
Now they're all going to fit into this turn here.
Whoa, that PJ off into the dirt. Derek Bell way up high in turn 1. Listen to the crowd.
Well, PJ went onto the grass, but Derek Bell was right on the outside of him on the normal speedway course. So I don't quite know what happened to Derek Bell there. We'll probably pick it up in a minute, but boy, that was a bit desperate there, wasn't it, by old Fangio, trying to get a lap back.
In fact, he did get the lap back. Derek Bell has now gone 3 laps down, and the crowd here announced that some 20,000 people was absolutely on its feet. Here's another look. Fangio, PJ, and Bell across left to right.
And Fangio goes very wide there, extremely wide on the entry to that corner, forcing PJ right up onto the grass and up onto the banking of turn 1, and there goes that reflected light of Derek Bell as he goes whistling around the top of the banking and Indy cars 1 and 2.
Rick DeBrule is down in the Toyota pits.
PJ was the head over there and Juan was the head back in here.
This is a wild way to win a championship.
Well, if we can win it, that's fine. I think it's done. Although the race is still up for grabs. Although PJ should be able to slack off and do it.
Is it kind of sad watching this whole thing happen? I mean, IMSA has meant a lot to Dan. Is it kind of sad watching this race? IMSA's meant a lot to Dan Gurney's career.
Well, the whole team is awfully proud of it, and yeah, we're sad, I'm sure. Yeah, it's sad.
But IMSA really helped you out in the grand scheme of things. It helped Dan Gurney get back on top.
Absolutely. We have a good feeling about IMSA. We wish them all the best of luck in the future. You know, we don't want to go out with any sourness at all, but, you know, it's kind of sad to see these things that can do this this the last time.
But you are going out with a flare.
I hope so.
That's right, Flair, F-L-A-I-R, not F-L-A-R-E, I'm sure Dan would tell you. Uh-oh. Speaking of problems, Derek Bell.
Lightless. What's happened there? No lights on the car. Has he got some sort of electrical problem?
And it looks like the engine is gone as well as he pulls it off and out. So Derek Bell, perhaps that off-course excursion took its toll on the race car. Now here are the Toyotas at it again. This is PJ going back around one, putting him 2 laps down again.
Good grief, every time they get into it, and Fangio's pulling up on him again. He's certainly not giving up.
Oh, touch! They touch down in that corner. This is at 150 miles an hour. Fangio takes his lap back again.
Well, he got PJ trapped behind that slower car there. He got him just slightly boxed in and held his line, and of course PJ tried to come down, so the cars touched. Well, I tell you, these two guys are really having at it.
Well, as Dan Gurney said, it is sad that cars that can do this kind of thing will not be doing it after tonight. There may be provisions for GT prototypes, much restricted GT prototypes in races such as the 24 Hours of Le Mans, at Daytona, and at Sebring. But the heyday of the GT prototypes ends tonight here in Phoenix.
Well, of course, there's no real reason why the racing with the world sports cars shouldn't be just as exciting as this. I mean, an evenly matched car is an evenly matched car. It's just that they'll be doing it at a lesser level of technology, which, you know, some people say is not necessarily the answer for racing, just to have a high-tech car. And I'm hoping that, obviously, IMSA's thoughts is that we're going to see more races like this, because there should be more people capable of mixing it up if the cars are more evenly matched.
Here's the new third-place runner, Manuel Reuter, in the Porsche 962 for the Yost team. He takes over third spot after the retirement of Derek Bell and Giampiero Moretti.
That is unfortunate on Derek. As he said, he was in on the first GTP race. He wasn't actually driving a GTP. I think he was driving a 935, but he was in the first GTP race back in 1981. And here he's in the last one in 1993. A great career stretching over many years, and disappointing that he should be out so near the end of the race.
So the running order right now is P.J. Jones right there, Juan Fangio, then Manuel Reuter in the Porsche, then the number 9, the leader in the Camel Lights class, Bob Shader, sharing with Bryce Cobb. A healthy representation of Camel Lights and World Sports Car chassis in the top 10 at this point.
And there are the two leaders, the 98 car of P.J. Jones just trying to get around Bob Shader in the leader of the Camel Lights division in the Bricks Acura Spice.
The laps beginning to run down here at Phoenix. And the crew sensing history being made here tonight in Phoenix. Take a look at the top 10 and we'll be back in just a moment. Lots of racing still to come as we close out the GTP era in Camel GT racing. Stay with us.
Tommy and the Bull present FM 99 WNOR and WNOR not. WNOR.
That's me in the spotlight, losing my
WNOR not.
Oh yeah.
FM 99 WNOR. Just the best rock and roll and nothing else.
Deep in the heart of Texas and adored by lovers of the Old West is Fort Worth, a city that not only has its own stock market, but is also a major financial center because it's one of the 1,900 communities served by Nations Bank, letting Justin Industries keep in step with the latest ideas in investment banking, giving giving families like the Trevinos a fresh start and offering a range of resources that keeps people in Fort Worth from having to play second fiddle to anyone.
Pick up the phone for the latest sports news from ESPN all day, every day.
95 cents per minute. Call 1-900-976-ESPN.
The headlights of Checker Camel Grand Prix race leader P.J. Jones and the sparks from his damaged left front corner racing through the night here in Phoenix, Arizona. Actually, those sparks coming from all over the race car now. There is the World Sports Car class leader, Fermin Velez, and just behind him, the Camel Lights class leader, Bob Shader.
Well, there you see all the winners together. I must say that the Velez Andy Evans car has gone extremely well tonight. It's a great harbinger of what we can expect from the World Sports Car races next year. And, of course, the Camel Lights still just a little bit quicker. But as I said earlier, we've got some big engines, some mighty powerful engines coming in those cars, and with a relatively low downforce, they should be really good fun to watch and drive.
600 horsepower expected from the 12-cylinder Ferrari that will be in at least 2 cars fielded by Dr. Giampiero Moretti.
In fact, I think I better call up Coach and suggest that we have a role reversal there, and I'll come along and help him at Daytona and see him bring in Le Mans next year.
There you go. Craig T. Nelson, the actor, will be a racing driver next year. I understand that car may be powered by a Lexus engine.
That, I believe, is the plan, that 4-litre, the V8. It's a beautiful engine in the Lexus, and of course, should make a good, strong racing engine.
Certainly Acura has proven that their production-based engine, the V6, can be a good racing engine. The top 4 drivers in the Camel Lights point standing, all Acura powered. And in fact, we will see a shuffling in those standings. Bob Shader will certainly break a tie with Bob Earl, who was not in this race, and could surpass Dan Marvin, the number 2 man in class behind Parker Johnstone.
So that'll be a great feather in the cap of Bob Shader. Boulder, Colorado, doing an impeccable race tonight. A difficult thing to do in the dark, unusual circumstances. There we see the Manuel Reuter car in the pits. In 3rd place, that must have been just a splash and go stop.
The last splash of fuel for Manuel Reuter. Right now in 3rd position and unchallenged in that spot. Back out onto the racetrack. The infield portion, very flat racetrack until you get up on the banking. So you have to be very careful to look well out ahead, and you can see the kinds of speeds they develop on the infield portion of the course. 120, 130 miles an hour before hard braking for this long right-hander, and then a short shoot down to the hairpin.
Well, there we see the 98 car squeezing past the Pace Downing car, going up onto the banking. As you said earlier, still streaming those sparks behind it. I just can't believe how whatever it is that's making those sparks hasn't worn down by now.
Right. Which would be PJ's left foot once it gets through that titanium rub strip there. Of course, the Jones family has a tremendous history in racing. Father Parnelli, very proud of PJ, and his brother Page, who also aspires to a major league racing career, does well racing midgets and sprint cars. But there are other Joneses here as well, and Rick DeBrule down in the pit lane is standing by with another very interested member of the family. Rick?
You know, we talk a lot with Parnelli Jones, but we've never talked to Judy Jones. You're sitting there watching your son run for his life.
He's fast tonight. This track just seems like it's so fast in that first corner, but I'm sure it's only about 25 miles an hour, don't you think?
I think it's a little faster. Now you have to show us the water bottle. Show us the water bottle. You're tearing this thing to bits tonight watching your son out there.
And not only that, I have Paige in Ohio in midget races.
More stress than one mom should have to handle in one night?
Absolutely. And then I have to ride to home with Parnelli in the car.
I would imagine, having driven with a couple of race car drivers in my life, that a drive home through the desert with Parnelli would probably be an adventure.
No wonder she's hugging the water bottle. Yeah, the thought of driving home with Parnelli is pretty scary. Of course, Parnelli Jones, a great driver in his day, won the Indy 500 just 30 years ago this last May. So a great year for the Jones family and a great commemorative year as well.
And both of the Jones boys will tell you their parents did not push them into racing. In fact, Father Parnelli tried to dissuade his sons from going racing.
Yeah,
if Paige and PJ are to be believed. In fact, they tell the story of Paige in a game of billiards with his dad, wanted to go to the racetrack as a young boy. His father said he would take him if Paige could run the table. And that, of course, is exactly what Paige did. Parnelli said, wait a minute, I don't want to pay for a trip across country to go to Indianapolis. Tell you what, I'll buy you boys some carts. And as they say, the rest is history. Well, tonight, the elder of the Jones boys, PJ, will not win a championship, but he will hold the distinction of winning the last GTP race in IMSA Camel GT history. And he will pick up the $60,000 Camel Pyramid bonus to go with other prize monies here. It'll be a pretty nifty payday for PJ. Just a couple of corners remaining. Once more through the banking and down to the checkered flag in the hand of IMSA flagman Jim Sidley.
Waving the checkered flag for the last time on the Camel GTP cars. Next year it'll be the Exxon that will be sponsoring the series, and of course it'll be the new World Sports Car Championship.
A lot of dust up there in turns 1 and 2, put there by PJ just a few laps ago. But now it's all a part of his victory lap. Now here comes the leader in the World Sports Car class, Fermin Velez, followed by the leader in the Camel Lights category, Bob Shader. Across the finish line they come. Down in the Toyota pits, Rick DeBrule is standing by with the winning car owner and the legend himself, Dan Gurney. Here's Rick.
Okay, Dan, 51 victories in IMSA, 3 drivers' championships, 3 manufacturers' championships. Sad to see it all come to an end.
Well, it couldn't have been ended in a nicer way. I mean, we had an undefeated streak now for 17 races, which is more than we ever dreamed we could do. So we're awfully proud of that. And we're looking for new worlds to conquer.
And you got to be proud of your 2 drivers. Those guys have done a spectacular job all year long.
Well, I mean, they're only proving what I have believed for a long time. They are both very, very good, and they'll be equally good wherever they go.
Dan Gurney, yet another championship.
Dan Gurney back on top in racing. And who knows what worlds remain for all-American racers to conquer. David, any thoughts?
Well, I think it must be wonderful for both Dan and Parnelli Jones. You know, for both of those guys raced together back in the 60s, and now there's Dan helping his son achieve success in racing. Just great. Must be great for both of them.
We'll be back to hear from our winners and our champions when we return. Stay with us for more from Phoenix.
Announcing the biggest advance in Quaker State history. It's Quaker State's new advanced high-tech formula motor oil. Superior wear protection plus superior heat and stress protection. New advanced formula Quaker State, formulated for today's high-tech engines.
Driver, do you have any Bud Light in your vehicle?
Yes.
Then I am Mr. Gallywikich.
You mean Dr. Galakowicz?
Yes, I am. This is so cool.
First time in a limo?
Doctor? In a limo this small.
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
For quick response. For smooth acceleration, turn him loose. For a cleaner engine, turn him loose. Move up to high-octane Exxon Supreme and turn the Tiger loose.
Get up, get going. It's ESPN's midday workout. Don't get stuck in the same routine. Change it daily on ESPN's midday workout.
This ESPN Speedworld presentation has been brought to you by new Edge Shave Gel. Ultimate closeness, ultimate comfort, that's the Edge. And by new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State Motor Oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines. Beneath the flag stand on the front straightaway here at Phoenix International Raceway, the celebrations have begun. To mark the closing of an era, P.J. Jones, your winner over teammate Juan Fangio, Manuel Reuter third over the teams of Bob Shader and Price Cobb, and Andy Evans and Fermin Velez. Now let's get down there and meet race winner P.J. Jones with Rick DeBrule.
Good job, man. Well, this is a very happy PJ. Boy, I have to say, you sure gave us entertainment value tonight.
Well, you know, I just tried as hard as I could to keep Juan behind me. I mean, we raced hard there. I mean, we got caught up in some traffic and touched a couple cars and got each other. And, I mean, it was, you know, it was exciting. I'm sure, you know, we weren't trying to get each other. It was just, I know he was trying to get by me to get that one lap that he needed to lead, and I was trying to keep him behind me. And then there at the end, I think he was mad at me, and he tried to drive me off the end there. But, you know, hey, what can I say? It's been a great car, great team to work with, and, you know, this is just, I guess, another end of an era. And I got a great teammate. Juan Fangio is a great champion, and, you know, to finish second to him is you know, still respectful.
A very respectful and grateful and great winner here at Phoenix International Raceway.
Congratulations to P.J. Jones on his third victory of the season. Here's a look at the final IMSA Camel GTP point standings. Fangio by 15 over Jones, followed by Giampiero Moretti, Derek Bell, and John Paul Jr. Now let's hear from our champion with Rick.
Juan, you needed 1 point, and you got it. Were you sure you were going to get that point?
Well, when you have the championship right in front of you, I mean, it's less than 1 second in front of you, lap after lap. I mean, it's too many things going through your mind. But finally, I was very lucky because I had the chance to go by PJ before having the punch. Then I had the punch going into one, and it was not fun at all. I was not sure, so I put another lap, and again I went off. So I came back, the guys changed the tires, and that was the only problem I had. Everything else was absolutely perfect.
You guys were going wheel to wheel, door to door at the end of the race there. That must have been spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun, and I tell you the truth, I think we can be very pleased with the IMSA Championship because everything was working really wonderful. I mean, during the full season, and something that is more important than everything. We came back home all together and happy after every race, and I think that counts almost like the championship.
Juan Fangio, a true champion.
No question about it, Rick, and I think he just invented a new racing term. From now on, a puncture shall be known as a punch. We'll be back to meet our other winners.
Bud Light, please.
Tonight's ladies' night, and there's a special on Bud Light.
If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
Oh no, it's Ted from accounting.
The Suzuki GSXRs. First, they win more road races than any production motorcycle in history. Then, we put a license plate on them. The new liquid-cooled GSXRs, now available in 600, 750, and 1100 octane.
Under a beautiful harvest moon at Phoenix International Raceway, the Checker Camel Grand Prix is complete. Let's meet our Camel Lights winners with Rick DeBrule.
Well, congratulations, Bob. You really showed this rookie how things are done out here in the light division.
That's for sure. I certainly showed this rookie, right.
That feels great, though, winning this last race.
It feels great. It really does. It's, what can I say? Thanks, Motorola. Thanks, GTE. Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Price.
Hard race? I mean, during your stint out there?
No, mine was a caretaker stint. I'd like to say otherwise, but it wasn't.
Price did the door-to-door battle.
Yeah, Price did the job.
Bob Shader and Price Cobb, your Camel Lights winners. Here are the final standings for 1993. Parker Johnstone with his third consecutive Lights Drivers Championship. Now let's meet our World Sports Car winners.
Well, over in the Toyota camp, we're talking about the end of an era. Over here, I guess we're talking about the beginning of an era.
You bet. We're going to see a lot more cars at Daytona. We're really excited. We're taking delivery of a new Spice. Fermin and I, we're going to try to team up next year if we can find the sponsorship dollars. What a great win. We should have won here last year.
Now, there's been a lot of development work on this car during the year.
You bet. The car since Miami has gone through a lot of changes. I mean, Goodyear tires and Mike Lozano and all the work Mike Cruz put together. And this car hasn't failed but 1 or 2 times all season.
I mean, starting in one car and finishing in another?
Yeah, it's a shame that the other car, we had an engine problem, so I was able to do 1 lap, so that was good also because I was ready for the car for Andy. This is my first race in WC, and I think it's a very challenging car. And I want to dedicate this win to Parker Johnston from last year.
Good-natured reference to the collision last year that took Fermin Velez out of the championship. There you see Juan Fangio collecting his trophy as we show you the entire field rundown. David, your final thoughts.
Well, we're obviously going to see a lot more WSC cars next year, and I think they're going to be just as exciting in their way. A lot of power coming down the road, 600 horsepower from the Ferrari. But boy, what a display for GTP to go out on. Just the awesome might of those little 4-cylinder 2.1-litre Toyotas. A magnificent display.
And the new era begins at Daytona Speedway at the end of January. We hope you'll be there with us. I'm Bob Barsha for David Hobbs and Rick DeBrule. So long, everyone.
Next on SportsCenter. The NFL's Iron Man goes down, and he goes down hard. To bounce back, the Raiders call on a 38-year-old to try and rally against the Jets. Will the home team ever win a game in the White Sox J Series? Juan makes his pitch. The Phils may be running out of pitches in the chop shop. The Braves go for 3 straight. Lee also tries to win 3 in a row. Barkley hopes to be back from his back problems. Warren shoots for the moon against the team that embarrassed the Oilers the last time.
I mean, I had people tell me they got sick to their stomach watching the game. They had to turn it off. They couldn't watch it anymore.
The littlest giant leads the ambush of the Redskins at RFK. The winless Pats do their level best to collapse the house of cards. We remind you to practice safe sports and park in the designated area only. For SportsCenter, next.
Hello and welcome to the big show. Along with Chris Myers, I'm Dan Patrick.
And quarterbacks check their insurance policies before taking the
Potter, Hopkill, and Trotter. Matilda. Point of no return. Look for it on video cassette.
Only one children's vitamin has the fun shapes and great Flintstones taste kids love. Flintstones, complete with the vitamins and minerals kids need.
Welcome back to the main event here on TBS. You know the guy I was talking to just a little while ago, that chap that said that he's not going to have any sporting contests except peasant hunting to go to anymore? Well, I think he needs to reevaluate what he just said, because he's going to face Johnny B. Bad, and that's a guy with a left hook that might give him a whole new outlook on life and sporting. But besides that, we're just about to see that match. Before we go, let's check out a chick that always brings at least 2 things to my mind. Take it away, Missy.
This is Missy, and don't forget to call me on the hotline because I've got the scoop about Lord Stephen Regal and Sir William. Seems to me they were out at a restaurant in Houston, and they just weren't eating. Lord Regal embarrassed Sir William, and I've got the scoop on the wrestling hotline.
Be sure to call Missy tonight on the hotline until midnight.
And you can call her anything you like.
Bell sounds, main event time. Johnny B. Bad against Lord Stephen Regal. And hey, Missy doesn't know whether to be nasty or nice.
And who cares? You know, take a look at Johnny B. Bad here. The human orchid maybe to you and the fans, but to Lord Stephen Regal, man, closely resembles a peasant. And I believe the Lord's about to go peasant hunting. Have a little peasant under glass.
Regal, as Johnny B. Bad is getting the fans firmly behind him. Is set to go. He went for the neutral position. And what did he do? Pull away that time, Larry?
Well, Regal's looking at his hands. You know, there's a few guys. Johnny B. Bad looks kind of was kind of glistening in there, and they put oil on themselves. And when you lock up, your hands get oily, which is harder to grab a man. So it looks to me like Regal might be irritated by Johnny B. Bad's oily body.
Fans, next week on the main event, some great matches. We're scheduled to have Too Cold and Bagwell with us. Next week, we are also scheduled to have, watch out now, right to the arm. Also scheduled to have next week with us the return of Todd Champion to the main event.
As soon as I'm done leaping up and down, I'll do the color.
That's in a week's time. Fireman's Carry takeover, Johnny B. Bad.
I tell you, that's an unusual picture right here. Lord Steven Regal on the mat in a hold. Usually it's the other way around, and I'm sure Lord Regal will make it that way. This guy, just an excellent mat wrestler, Tony.
Sends Johnny B. Bad to the ropes. Johnny drops down and gets an arm. Well, Lord Steven Regal, who has to defend the belt against the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith, at Halloween Havoc.
I tell you, the Human Orchid just outsmarted Lord Regal there, and I'm sure he's not happy about it. But sooner or later, wrestling matches wind up on the mat, and that's where Regal can hook you. Oh!
Arm drag takedown out of the ropes. We have Johnny B. Bad and a very angry Lord Steven Regal. And Regal has done his best to slow the pace of this match down, but has been unsuccessful.
Yeah, knowing his royal blood, it's probably starting to boil because he's realizing that he's being made a mockery of by a peasant.
By thousands of peasants in here.
Peasants everywhere you look.
I guess so. If you're Lord Steven Regal, that's the opinion you take. He is holding onto the arm with a wrist lock now. And now, like you said, it always gets back to the mat. And there it is, Larry.
Yeah, now here's where Lord Regal is the master right here. If he can keep Johnny B. Bad on the mat, keep him off his feet, that's where Johnny B. Bad's attributes lie in his speed and quickness.
Wow.
Oh, good move.
Somersault out of it. Arm drag takeover. Johnny B. Bad showing the quickness. Now he has Regal on the mat.
Well, he's with his combinations. Took him over to the Japanese arm drag. Hooked that arm lock on. Cranking the pressure on that elbow and shoulder. Lord Regal's got to be getting irate. But again, I think he may have underestimated Johnny B. Bad here a little bit, because this is not the position you see Lord Regal in often.
Sir, you give him a good thrashing. You hear Sir William at ringside. Arm drag takeover again, right to the wrist.
So there's the Lord Regal we all know and love. Whoa.
And Johnny B. Bad goes to the arm. Well, neither man able to get much of an advantage here in what has been a fine match so far. And the fans are into this one, Larry.
I'm even getting impressed by Johnny B. Bad's wrestling here. You know, to hold your own wrestling with Lord Regal is an achievement. But I tell you, that's what Johnny B. Bad has got to do. Use his speed, quickness, and wrestling combinations if he can, and that's a tall order against Lord Regal.
The hands are tied up on both men, and now Johnny B. Bad's in a very tough spot. He's caught in the corner. Regal now with a knee after got the clenched fist to the gut.
The royal left hook.
Pardon me, the royal left hook. Stalks him from behind. Regal. A big uppercut. That European uppercut.
Yeah, softening up the Human Orchids, trying to slow him down. See, right there, right back to the mat. That's the name of the game, and that's Lord Regal's home territory.
Twisting on an arm, and the referee right in there to check on Johnny B. Bad, and a stomp right to the midsection. Oh, Johnny B. Bad is in trouble.
And Lord Regal's going to keep it that way. Oh.
Tremendous leaping ability, but no, Regal sits right on him. And now Regal, the Regal roll on top. Johnny's out in two.
Hey, look at this hold Lord Regal's putting on bad. It's got that leg laced, reaching around to the chin, pulling back while he's putting on the pressure on the other side of the neck with his right arm, with his left arm there. Just stretching all the ribs of the Johnny B. Bad.
And Bad really hurting, cannot even get off the mat right now. One thing Regal will do, we talked about his wrestling ability. You have to be in shape to wrestle Regal, because he will wear you down.
Yeah, you got to be in excellent shape, and you got to be careful whenever a man locks your neck, anything involving your neck. Never make a sudden move. You can break your own neck. So Johnny B. Bad, you can see him there. He's in trouble, but Regal on that neck area makes it almost impossible for Johnny B. Bad to make any big sudden moves.
Now at Halloween Havoc, Larry, it is Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, an entirely different wrestler than Johnny B. Bad, and a guy who has a lot of power as well.
Yeah, powerful guy. But, again, even with Davey Boy Smith or Johnny B. Bad, sooner or later you're going to wind up on that mat. And that's where Lord Regal's going to get you.
Into the midsection, uppercut. Sends him in, drives a shoulder into a midsection, rolls him up, or does he? No. He does not want to pin him there. Look at that move.
Well, right here, it's sort of a variation of a neck crank. Actually, the Lord should have his hands up a little higher on the head of Johnny B. Bad, but he knocked the wind out of Johnny B. Bad. Now he's over him, cranking his neck forward. What that basically does, aside from hurting an awful lot, is inhibits your breathing. He's keeping the air out of Johnny B. Bad with this hold. Look, he's got his weight on the stomach, on the diaphragm of Johnny B. Bad, cranking back on the neck. Very hard to breathe like that.
You may have heard David Penzer, the ring announcer, call out the times. We are close to the, I guess, about 4 minutes or so to go in this match. And the battle goes on. Bad and Lord Steven.
You can see Nick Patrick, the referee, jawing at Lord Regal, but I don't think Regal paid him any mind.
None at all. Then what else is new?
Yeah, he's got a legal 4 seconds to utilize, and he does. Again, look at the holds again on Lord Regal. Cranking back on that neck area of Johnny B. Bad. Again, very difficult to breathe when you're bent up like this.
Bad looking toward the ropes. He wants to get there. 3-minute mark of the match. And the fans encouraging Johnny B. Bad.
Well, he kind of wiggled his way into a neutral position there.
Elbow.
He's making some mistakes. You know, sometimes that crowd gets behind you, gives you maybe some adrenaline, but also causes you to rush and try to make some mistakes. Johnny B. Bad, if you can get away from Lord Regal, don't worry about the fancy moves. Take him down.
1, 2, got a 2. And he got a 2 on Regal. Regal goes right back to the leg. Johnny B. Bad flips him over. Great move by Johnny B. Bad. Now gets his second win.
Well, here's where the endurance comes in, and you need ever so much against athletic competitors, no matter how long it goes.
Got a 2.
You're not worth anything without oxygen. Oh.
Big hip toss and a cover. 1, 2. Regal's out in 2. We're less than 2 minutes to go in the match. Regal and Johnny B. Bad. Who will get the backslide? It's going to be Bad, apparently, yes. 1, 2, no. Another cover, leg hook, and a 2 again.
Okay, nice backslide, cradled up Lord Regal. Didn't have his arms in enough for that pin, but look at the look on Johnny B. Bad's face. I think he just wants to pop him in the choppers.
Pop him in the choppers. And that's what he did. Regal did with a left foot. Both men, it's a wonder they're still standing. The last couple of minutes has been ferocious.
Come on, Johnny B.
The referee asking And I think Regal is content with putting this in the deep freeze here. I'm not sure.
He's putting all the weight of his midsection over the head of Johnny B. Bad. You don't want to go over too far, just enough to push it straight down.
45 seconds remain.
Trying for the butterfly suplex here. Can he get it? No! It's Johnny B. Bad. If he wants to win the match, he has to do it now.
30 seconds remaining in the match.
Picks him up. Not much force at elbow, but he got him over. 2 count.
You know, to pin Lord Regal, you've got to use more exotic holds. Simple holds, Regal can escape out of them.
That's a good point. And in 15 seconds, Regal is out again.
10, 9,
He's not going to make it.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Go.
2, 1.
There's the bell. It's over. We're going to have a time limit draw. Fans, I'm going to be talking to Stunning Steve Austin still in this program. Oh, no, from behind. They attack Johnny B. Bad.
Oh!
We'll be back.
We saw a boy get murdered tonight. If they catch us, they're going to kill us too.
This fall, there's one movie to see. Judgment Night, rated R. Starts Friday, October 15th.
Inside your smooth-running engine is a torture chamber. And under these grueling conditions, only one leading motor oil in every grade meets the world's toughest requirements for viscosity breakdown. Castrol. Castrol provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol. Why make things tougher on your engine? Castrol GTX, engineered for today's smaller cars.
Try Castrol Super Clean for tough, greasy jobs. If it won't come clean with Super Clean, it won't come clean.
Terror will rule the ring as World Championship Wrestling presents Halloween Havoc 93. What dangers will the wheel reveal when Cactus Jack spins for revenge against Vader? Oh, the horror of it all. Spin the wheel! Live at Halloween Havoc 93. Sunday, October 24th, 7 p.m. Eastern, only on pay-per-view. Call the local cable operator for availability.
On October 15th,
We don't.
it's a brand new start
I ain't going nowhere.
in a brand new town.
Hey, cut us off. That's real nice. This here's what I carry.
Now, Beverly Hills isn't changing the Clampetts, but they're sure changing Beverly Hills.
There's a fresh tail in the road. Roadkill stew sounds mighty good right now.
The Beverly Hillbillies.
I'm sure there's enough for us all.
Rated PG. Starts Friday, October 15th at theaters everywhere.
I'm here to play football for the Irish.
You're 5 feet nothing, 100 and nothing.
They told him he wouldn't make it.
You got hardly a speck of athletic ability.
They told him to quit.
Don't you understand, man? If you don't cool it out there, you're going to end up getting yourself killed.
But no matter what they told him,
The only uniform you're going to be putting on is that grungy thing you've been wearing every day.
he would never give up.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
Rudy, rated PG. Starts Wednesday, October 13th in select cities.
Try to get up, Homer.
I can't.
Too bad, man.
Why, you little crap.
Crispity, crunchity, peanut buttery Butterfinger.
Nobody better lay a finger on my Butterfinger.
Tonight on TBS, investigate the wonders of our world on National Geographic Explorer. Then at 11 Eastern, the Environmental Media Association Award winner for Best Television News Magazine Show, Network Earth. That's all tonight on TBS.
Promotional considerations paid for by the following.
For everything that squeaks, now there's one lube, and everyone should like the sound of that. One lube from Slick 50.
Team up with Spider-Man and the X-Men in Arcade's Revenge. Now on Super NES and Genesis. Webs, claws, blasts, lightning, explosive action from a plane.
We are here with Stunning Steve Austin. The match has been signed for a Halloween Havoc for the U.S. title, you and Dustin Rhodes, and there's one Colonel Rob Parker. He says he had a lot to do with that.
It really doesn't matter who had a lot to do with getting the match. The important thing is I've got the match.
Dustin Rhodes knows that I have his number. He never could beat me for the world television title.